groomers, pet stylists, and canine cosmetologists. You found the Traveling Groomers podcast, where we discuss lessons learned from mobile and house call grooming. I'm one of your hosts, Chris Bear Anthony. Any moment now, we'll be joined by my co-host and friend, retired mobile groomer and educator extraordinaire, Mary Aquendo, and very likely a special guest to help us chat about all things grooming, grooming industry related, and just plain fun digressions that I totally wrangle back to topic. Grab those travel mugs and climb aboard to see where today's topic will bring us. Let's roll.
Okay, welcome to another episode of the Traveling Groomers podcast. So we are continuing the discussion with keeping it real on trade shows. So this episode is going to be all about from the perspective of a vendor and a speaker.
Yes. And I will be going back and forth from my vendor and my speaker hat. And I want to say, I want to give the caveat, while I work with a vendor, I'm not in charge of as much of the nitty gritty as they are. So
Okay.
I know of it, so I can kind of talk to that, and maybe we'll talk about getting a vendor on later.
Okay, so let's start from where you and I come from, and that's from the speaker perspective.
Okay.
And Chris and I have, we're coming from different points of different points here. Okay.
Yeah.
I am not a, what's the word I want to use?
Sponsored?
Yeah, I'm not a sponsored speaker. Okay. So therefore, for someone like me who is not sponsored to go to a trade show, okay, that means I'm getting there in most cases on my own dime. Okay. With the exception of the WPA shows, the WPA does cover my travel expenses, plus my speaker fee. But for most other shows, I take it back. Teton is also covering my travel expenses. So
yay, Teton.
So yay, Teton. But for the Barkley shows, that's not the case. All right. I'm there because I want to be there. Okay. So whereas Chris is a sponsored speaker, and Evolution Cheers covered, correct?
Yes. They cover, well, we'll get into that a little bit when we talk about larger versus smaller shows. But in general, if there is a show they're going to be at where they need me to work the booth, they're paying me to be there anyway.
Right.
So they pay for me to be there. So then if they can sponsor me for a class so that there's better education out there, absolutely.
And there's pros and cons to both of those methods, okay?
Oh, yeah.
All right, because if you're a sponsored speaker, the paying you to be there, you're at the booth, okay, which makes it easier to find you.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you're not in class, you're going to be at the Evolution booth. We all know where Chris is.
Every show that I am at, you will find me at the Evolution booth. But for me as a sponsored speaker, here's where it gets super tricky. And this is a really, really difficult line for me. Well, it's not always difficult. It's a fine line to walk, because I have heard complaints that a lot of classes that are sponsored by vendors turn commercially. And I 100% get that, because when I was paying for classes, and I remember exactly the products and the classes that this happened in. When I get there and I'm like, oh, I thought this was going to be about coat care, and this was about how to use these products for coat care. It's stuck in the back of my head, and it didn't leave me with a good taste in my mouth. So I never want to do that to people. On the other hand, if they are paying me to give a class, and it is something that I actually believe in and use, I will talk about that, while trying my damnedest to not make it commercially for the attendees, but promote a bit the people who are paying me to be in the class. Does that make sense, Mary?
Which is why I've always, I never wanted to be a sponsored speaker, but there's, pros and cons to that too. All right.
Mhm.
The pro to not being a sponsored speaker is that, I have no allegiance to anybody. Right. And if I do mention products, I'm not getting anything out of them. Okay. It's not, and I first of all, try not to do that. Rare occasions, I will say something very specific, but for the most part, I don't. Okay. Now, the con to that is that can limit the shows I go to. All right. Because I have to now pay to get to some of these shows. And when I lived in the Northeast, the 3 local shows of which I was going to anyway was Groom Expo, Intergroom, and the New England show.
Mhm.
So if I'm going to these shows anyway, then I'm okay with that. Okay. But if I have to travel, that means as a non-sponsored speaker, they have to give me enough hours of class time so that I can cover my expenses. And this can be a bit of an issue with some of the speakers. So if you're as an attendee going to one trade show, and you know how that impacts you. So you're going to one trade show, you got to take the time off. So your business is not making any money, but you account for that because that's how you should be setting your prices anyway, to take that week off so you can go to a trade show and not impact your bottom line. That's the correct way to do it. But what if you're going now to 3, 4, 5 shows?
And Mary, by the way, are you putting this episode up on YouTube?
Yes, I am.
Okay, well then I will put on my speaker hat, because at times this is what I feel like when I am being a speaker.
Okay, hold on a second. Where's mine?
Well,
That could go in, why do we speak? All right, well, we'll get
and when we're talking about getting expenses covered, I sometimes feel like this because it's very difficult for me to ask for things. And I hate asking for things of the smaller shows. However, I can't literally afford to take 5 days off work, because I groom full time is how I pay my bills, to take those 5 days off work to pay to fly, to pay for hotel, to get $200-300.
So-
I can't, I would love to be able to afford that. I can't.
So then someone might be asking, well, why doesn't the show then just pony up travel costs? Okay, that's a very fair question. But
Yeah.
that would mean that your do-it-all package is probably going to double in price in order for them to do that.
Yeah, because let's, we just talked about all the expenses a show has. To put on a show costs a lot of money. So it's a very fine balance between what they are almost physically capable of paying for their speakers, which is why you have sponsored speakers, which is why I try so hard to make my content not commercially.
Okay. So, and
I'll
then
take that off now. No, I won't. I like it.
I know I'm leaving mine on too. So then the other complaint that we've heard is that it's the same old, same old. And you know what? Here's the thing, and I think we covered this pretty well when we interviewed Todd. There's a lot of
Mhm.
classes going on. There are
Yeah.
literally so much to choose, and they do make a real effort. And it's not, they're always going to have business class, they're always going to have some sort of specific breed class. Those classes, there's so much you can teach us.
Yeah.
There's so many breeds, there's so many equipment, there's so many product, and there's gonna be different takes on it, I guess is what I'm trying to say, right? So, and every speaker is gonna have a different way of, this is how they do things. So for me, it's all about perspective, of getting different perspectives on what it is that I'm looking to learn how to do. Right. So if I ever decided to get a Bichon, I'm going to take as many different Bichon classes as I can with as many different speakers as I can, because I want that different perspective. So while the subject matter may be the same, the workshops themselves may not be the same. Right.
Right. And you may have, I'm looking for a pair of shears because all of my fidget toys are downstairs. And I don't have any swivel shears to fidget with, and that's it's very upsetting to me, Mary. Anyway,
there's always new products coming out. There's always new tools coming out, and how to use them specifically with any given breed is always worth it to see how something has been updated from even last year.
and also different speakers, even if it's not a like a Bichon. Actually, no, even with breed cuts, different speakers can teach the same trim and give you different tips and different ways to do it. Different speakers can teach the same class. I'm not the only one who talks about burnout and ergonomics, but we're all going to have different takes on it, and they're all valuable.
Yes. All right. And even the same workshops get updated. I mean, the first time I did the mobile grooming certification program at a trade show now was Hershey. And there it was a 4-hour workshop. And then the next time I did it at a trade show was at Pasadena, where it became a 6-hour, and I had revised it. And then on the way home, because Tacoma was like right around the corner, I edited it again, so that, yes, there was a lot of the same material, but there was better material in that Tacoma class than originally was at the Hershey class. So programs evolve, and good speakers do take the time to update. Okay. And we all have, as a speaker, we all have things that we're really good at,
Yeah.
And so when we're really good at them, that's going to become our specialty. Like, for example, I will never teach a Bichon class. You will never see me teach a Bichon class. It's not my wheelhouse. Okay. And even if I was to get a Bichon tomorrow and practice, I'm still not going to teach a Bichon class, because again, it's not my zone of genius. Right. So then you ask why, if we're taking time off, and I'm recently retired, so I was still grooming and teaching, right? Now I'm working from home. And so for me, it's easier to take that time off, but I don't get any work done other than why I'm there at a trade show. So if my job right now is to put on online education, none of that is happening at a trade show. Nothing I have to do to work on that is going to happen at a trade show. So I'm taking the time off, right? And I still have to plan for that.
There may be a podcast happening at a trade show.
It could be a podcast, but okay. And let's take a quick break.
Okay. Oh, I'm not prepared for break. Hang on. I love being a house call groomer, but I hate doing laundry or worrying about asking my clients for fresh towels. Raypet has solved those problems for me with the Wet Pet disposable towel, taking up much less space than traditional cotton towels and easy to wring out and reuse. These super soft, comfy, absorbent towels eliminate any cross-contamination concerns between pets. And now their new smaller washcloth size can even help those sensitive eye areas. Great for cleaning out wrinkles gently and thoroughly. Need to keep water bowls for your clients on hand that are easy to disinfect, but hate all the room traditional clanky metal bowls take up? Or just have a very active pet? Their collapsible silicone bowl comes with an aluminum D-ring hook that can be attached to your pet's leash or anywhere else in your van for easy storage. You can get one by itself or in their handy travel kit, along with a set of 3 tick removers and 1 small wet pet towel. So stop by their website to check it out, raypet.net, and tell them the Traveling Groomer sent you.
Okay.
All righty, Daddy.
You will ask them, why do we do it if we're not really making money? Okay. Because we love the industry. All right. We want to leave the industry better than what we got it. I can remember my very first trade show. And to the day I die, I will idolize Suzeko. Okay. Because I can remember as a brand new groomer, and Chris, I could tell you what she was wearing. Okay.
She's so sweet.
She is. But anyway, I can remember that first trade show on which I took a class of hers. Okay. And it was at Groom Expo. And we're walking down she was heading out to where those long hallways at Hershey.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So I grab a hold of her and I ask her a question, and she was like so gracious. All right. She said, come walk with me. I'm heading out to my next class. And she took the time and she answered the question. So over the years, she has made my life as a groomer so much easier, whether it's a tool she was talking about. So the first time I even heard of a Coat King, because she was talking about it in her class.
Mhm.
And since that time, we've gotten way better tools than Coat Kings, but that was the tool of the day at that time, which would not have known had I not gone to take that class of hers.
Now, when we talk about the vendor side of things, remember that story.
Okay.
Remember that exactly. Because there's something with that.
And then there's been people like Daryl Connor, who, when I was diving into the grooming industry, in fact, even before that, before I was diving into, really took that deep dive, there was a call out on petgroomer.com, and some of our older listeners may remember that. Okay. And they were doing a call out on petgroomer.com. They were looking for bloggers. And I figured, you know what, I'm just gonna throw my hat into the ring. Okay. And so there you had, I was blogging, and I wasn't quite sure about my writing skill. And then people like Daryl Connor, who with kindness edited my stuff. And then Barbara Bird, who goes to me, and again, I don't remember this is the day I died. And I asked her about it, and she goes, "It doesn't suck."
Aw.
I'm like, Barbara Bird says, my blog doesn't suck. This is awesome. So, and then, when I was moving into speaking, I was welcomed by Daryl Connor, who offered tips, Suzeko again. So when I went from being a new groomer and crossing over into speaking, she was always there to answer questions. So roundabout, bringing this now full circle, I've always had somebody who took their time and their expertise to make me a better business owner, a better groomer. And that's what I want my legacy to be. I want to leave the industry better than I found it.
Yeah. Same. I grew up in corporate, and I learned everything I could from there. And there was a lot of stuff that I had to unlearn from there as well, to be fair. But it's the things I learned at the classes and the shows, and even walking around and watching the demos and learning about new things. And it was not super easy for me. And I made a lot of mistakes, both with overworking and, with running my own business. And I don't want anybody else to have to go through that.
Mm-hmm.
Just don't.
You know what, no matter what happens, things are going to change. And getting, advice, and again, that different perspective from somebody else. Right. So my big thing is all about organization. I'm terribly organized, had to work at it. And I've tried so many different methods of organization, none of which worked until I found the thing that did work for me.
That shocks me, by the way, Mary. That shocks me to my core.
Oh yeah, Angie's coming up here probably a week after this airs, and she's coming here for the for her instructor. She could become a certified master pet tech instructor.
Nice.
And Angie has everything nice and neat and labeled. I told her she's gonna have a stroke when she comes here. And I'm like, but
And sees your office.
she's my office, and I'm gonna tell you, don't touch everything, because I know where everything is. Don't touch anything. Okay? Try to breathe. I'll bring her a paper bag if necessary. But anyway,
You know what? Give her a corner she can organize. Give her like a section.
oh God, no. She's to touch nothing in my office.
No, a section that you're okay with
No,
her
there
moving.
is.
No.
I gotta look at this office. There is nothing I'm okay with being moved in any direction. No.
I'm sorry.
So no. she
Sorry.
can't-
Sorry, Angie, I tried.
Okay, so, but the point is, I did, and I went through a lot of programs and tried different ways other people were using to get organized. None of it was working for me until I figured out, until I was able to sort of like do a mismatch of something from this person and something from this person and something from that person and put it together, and it works beautifully for me. All right. But it took, again, that different perspective from different people. So I learned something from this person, but everything else doesn't help me. I learned something from this person, everything else she didn't do help me at all. And then the third person, the same thing. I picked up something that works for me, and the rest of her stuff doesn't. So you know what? I was able to cobble together something that has made my life so much easier, because now I'm organized.
Mary, I'm so upset. I was thinking about it at the beginning of the show, and maybe it's time for another commercial because I did not pay attention
Yes.
because we have to get through them. But I also forgot to say, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the middle of episode 207, recorded on April 12th, will be airing on April 19th, because once again, no cushion just yet. And yeah, let's hear from one of our lovely sponsors. Oh, there it is.
Everything else in the world seems to have changed. Positive Ed has too, but for the better. Online learning is here to stay, and Positive Educational Training has brought the trade show to you with Summit memberships. For one monthly price of $97, you get 6 to 10 hours of content streamed live to your sofa, or let's be honest, grooming table. Forgot to attend live? No problem. You have 6 weeks to watch at your convenience. That's 3 weeks more than non-members, and for up to $50 less than non-members paid. With a monthly support call and summits tailored to the pet industry and designed to include all learning styles, what are you waiting for? Check out positiveed.com today and get the support you need to take action for your business.
So I'll tell you what, I will let Angie label like something. One thing.
Yes.
You can label one thing.
And by the way, in response to a Facebook post where y'all were having a discussion, of course you have to label your label maker.
I
Like
did
a-
not realize she had a separate label
Of
maker.
course you do.
Oh, she does. And the
course
fact
you-
that actually, and I was at a joke saying, well, what's the name of your humidifier? And it's a Steve Rogers, duh, you know?
And see, I'm not someone who labels my label maker because I'm that organized. I would do it if I had a label maker, because printing labels are fun. And it amuses the heck out of me. So I'd be like, must label this P-Touch for the brother P-Touch.
I may have a labeler somewhere in my house that I may have ditched before I moved out here, because I'm not quite sure I would have moved it across the country. There's something I wasn't using, but it's quite possible I did. I'll have to check.
Anywho,
Anyway, okay, so let's flip it over now to the vendors, all right? And I have a couple of some complaints that people have made regarding the vendors, but But first off, let's start off with, what does it take to get a vendor to a show? Let's start there.
Okay, we put on, apparently this is the only hat I have up here, so this is, no, it's not going to stay on my head. Let's just assume it's my vendor hat. And Mary, what happened to your screen?
That's a good question. I have no idea.
Is there a light shining on it?
No, there's no light shining on it. This is weird. Hold on.
There, no, it was good for a second. There. Fine, not.
Okay, well, in the old tech, let's shut it off and turn it back on again.
All right, but what does it take to get a vendor to a show? People. It takes the promise that there will actually be people at the show and that there will be an attendance records is the main thing. Because if you think it's expensive to attend a trade show or be there as a speaker, holy moly, for vendors, your booth prices, just the booths, are going to be anywhere from, say, $900 to $2,500. That's $2,500, depending on the size of your booth. Mary, I can't just stare at your picture. It's too weird. Try it again. We'll just deal with
I'm
weirdness.
Still messing around with it. Hold on. And there's got to be a problem with the camera because it looks good. All right, let's try this. How's that? Nope.
It's
Wait.
fucked up in an altogether different manner. Do you have light coming in the side?
No. Oh, God. Yes, I do. Well, it's been so long since we've had sunshine here, Chris. All right, now let me go to the overhead
Was it
light
light?
again.
'Cause that's what it looked like. There was light and glare. It's almost time to move into your summer office, Mary.
Almost time to move into my summer office. Okay.
We'll live with that. We will accept that there is lighting issues. By the way, the lighting got installed in my garage future recording space, and it's bright. Oh my goodness. It's bright. It might be too bright. We'll find out. You'll be able to see me from the moon. My fault. I asked for a bright. But okay, for what it costs vendors, what it takes to get vendors there. Just a booth, like I said, is anywhere from $900 to $2,500. Now that's just the booth. And when I say booth, I mean the physical space on the floor and maybe 2 tables it comes with, maybe. Because all the tables are separate. They charge you separate for that. Now, do you have something that you want to, I don't know, run electricity through? Do you have a sign? Do you have things you need to plug in to demo? Electricity is charged separately. Do you have all of your booth materials? Like you see some of those vendors with like the big fancy booths with like TVs and moving parts. So not only do they have to create that to begin with, and that looks expensive because it is, but it's pretty and it's shiny and it draws people in. So it does its job. However, all of that has to be then shipped across the country from show to show, to the home, to the show. And when shows are back to back, those create altogether different challenges, because then you're shipping things from one show to the other and praying they get there on time, instead of shipping it from the show to wherever your home base is and then shipping it back out to the next show. That's not just your booth materials, but that is also all of your product. There is a reason when you go to shows that the majority of the vendors that have shampoo, that have large quantities of shampoo in gallons, are local distributors. And maybe not that company, but they're a distributor locally that sells that, so they can drive it to the show. Because can you imagine how much it would cost to ship the weight of, say, 100 to 200 gallons of shampoo?
There's another thing too, because depending on the venue, right? So at the convention centers,
Oh, mhm.
you may not be able to haul your own stuff in.
Oh, yeah. So at a lot of the larger venues, they have union people who do this. So that is another cost that you have to pay to have someone else load and unload your product, like unload it, put it on the dolly, drop it off at your booth number. What was I going to say? Shipping product. Oh, there's also some venues and hotels will charge to hold your stuff and to receive packages. A lot of them you can just ship to the hotel, care of guest or care of booth, whatever. But then some of them go, oh, you would like your packages. That will be X amount of dollars, please, because we stored it for you in our limited space. Thank you. And that's not every venue, but it's some of them. It's enough to take that into consideration. Now, your vendors, the people actually working the booth, have to pay to get there. So they have their flights, their travel. If they are their hotel, if they're staying at the host hotel, that's one thing. They may or may not need a rental car. If they are not, they most certainly need a rental car to get back and forth from the booth every day, to get any of the last minute materials that they may have brought with them on their drive or airplane. What did I forget, Mary? Oh, meals. They got to eat while they're there. It's not cheap to do a show. And I know you said one of the other complaints was why go to the show to buy when a lot of vendors offer the show specials outside of the shows? And I actually have an answer for you for that one.
Okay.
But I think we're going to take a commercial break, and I'm going to make you be in suspense as to what that answer is going to be.
And speaking of continuing education, because we either were or will be, join the Andis world-class education team each month for live interactive virtual classes. You'll learn new and trending styles, as well as tips and tricks from some of the best groomers in the industry. Whether you're looking for basic skills, trending styles, advanced techniques, or even just ways to spark your creativity, the new Andis grooming education site is your source for finding what you need to create your way for success. Try new techniques, learn from the pros, and grow your confidence today at andis.com/groomer education. Traveling Groomer podcast listeners, hey, that's you, can get 25% off your first course today with the code VEGROOMING at checkout on andis.com/groomer education.
Okay, we are back. I was answering a question is what I was doing. Okay. I'm sorry, Mary. I was using that time to multitask and my brain went squirrel. All right. The reason you should still go to shows, even though show specials may be offered outside of shows. All right. That time you first picked up a Coat King because you learned about it at a show. Coat King's a relatively inexpensive tool. But what if it was a more expensive tool that you didn't know you needed until that day at the show, and you just bought a tub or tables, or did your shampoo order for the year and did your other shopping, and you're broke and you want this thing that you didn't know existed. Now, you physically don't have the money now, or you physically do, but that might mean you're eating ramen noodles for like longer than you would like to. And as much as I love, I'm talking instant ramen, not like the good takeout. Wouldn't it be nice if a vendor said, I understand, I get it, I see how much you really like the product. We're going to extend our show specials for another 3 weeks or a week or a month after the show or whatever.
Okay, this light is killing me. It might be time to go to my summer office.
Yeah, I think tomorrow night is a summer office night because we're
I think so,
recording a
too.
double header.
So enjoy this because we are going not to do this tomorrow.
That's right in your eyes, isn't it?
Oh, it's killing me. It's like I'm blind, but I can't turn it this way. Wait, hold on. Let's see. Nope. All right, I think this is as good as it's gonna get. Okay. That's partially an answer, but I'm talking about the people who are not even going to a trade show because they don't have to go because you're offering the specials online. So if they're going to go to the shop, so they're not going to the trade show, they're not taking the classes, they're not buying that tub because they're not there.
They're not there, they're not going. They're not going
because they're offering the same show specials online. They don't have to, even if it's not free shipping. For the things that they just need. So if the things that they just need, they're not seeing what's new.
And that to me is the problem. Like, I get it. I get it because at Intergroom the other week, I needed some stuff, but I went, oh, AHP is right up the road from me. I have a tremendous supplier that is 10 minutes away from my house. I'm going to wait and get it there next week. However, there is still stuff that I know they might not carry. There's still new things to learn. And I think, oh,
That's not
you know
answering
what?
my question.
No. It is because my answer to that question is if your mindset is you don't need to see anything new, you don't need to learn anything new, you don't need to see if there is anything new out there, then I'm not going to ever have an answer for you because that's stuck thinking.
Okay. But the question that I'm trying to get answered though, is why do vendors do show specials when they're for people who are not at the show? I mean, when I was grooming, I love the fact that there was Intergroom and there was Groom Expo. Intergroom in April, Groom Expo in September. So in April, I would go and I would grab the show special, okay, for all the supplies that I needed. And, you know, like for shampoos, it was like buy 3, get 1. And then I didn't have to worry about shipping because, you know, I'm there. Okay. Or for blades or anything, I was there. Okay, so whatever the blade is, buy 2, get 1 free, specials on the blades. I'm looking at scissors. I could just, because the specials were great. Okay, I didn't have to order online for regular price. All right, because I was getting really good deals. That was why I was buying 6 months worth of shampoo.
Everything, okay, the I think the answer to that one is it's a vicious cycle. Number one, and I'll explain what the cycle is. And number two, COVID changed everything. COVID changed the world and changed how we shop, because I know there's a lot of people who still aren't comfortable in large crowds. And I get that. However, because attendance at shows is, I don't know if it's down or if it feels down or if we're still like bouncing back a little bit. But if attendance is down and they don't make the sales they expect to make, then to drive revenue and sales, they're going to offer sale prices to get that up.
Okay, I mean, I get why, but it's a valid reason. You want people to go to the trade shows.
Mhm.
The vendors want the people there, but at the same time, if they're offering the same prices for not going to the show, it may not be worth it for someone then to drive to the show because you know what, gas to taking the day off from work. No, they don't have to do it. You know, there's no reason for me to go and check out all the great new stuff because you just made it easy for me to buy online.
But to me, learning is always important. And
Yeah, but-
even, and yes, I know that's to me. And I'm gonna, this is as close as I'm gonna come to being like super critical and taking like a hard line on the podcast. But feel free to come at me in the PMs or on the page. However, because burnout is such an important topic, because it's hits us so hard in the grooming industry, it's the little things like learning a new product that will be better for us, that will be more ergonomic, that will make our lives easier. Those are the kind of things that extend our shelf life as a groomer.
All right, so then how do vendors kind of make that point to help
I
drive
don't see, I
traffic?
don't know that they can. I don't know that they really can, because I'm already expecting like some pushback for me. And that's, I recognize that that's not really harsh, but I know it's going to be taken as harsh by a fair amount of people, and that's fair. So if I'm expecting pushback on that, then how is the vendor supposed to say that without alienating customers?
All right, what if vendors maybe did some promoting because they all have big people there, big name people at their booths. All right,
Not all,
a good number of them.
a good number.
Or
But see,
or the fact that they have people who know their product.
yes,
Possibly, maybe and I know the product demos and the breed demos that they do at some of the booths, that helps because those are basically free workshops.
mhm.
But what if vendors made more of a show of, you know what, you know, with advertising, you know what, this is a great product, and name a speaker is going to discuss how this can be used in your shop at the trade show.
And a lot of them do. And well, not in those specific words, like how this can be used at your shop, like not that specifically, but a lot of them do. And a lot of the ones with the big names in the booth will be like, so-and-so is going to be here. And those people themselves will share on their page. So their followers and fans will come see them. But unless you're talking about strictly social media marketing, which we'll set that aside. That's one thing. You're talking now about spending money, which does sometimes need to be done. But if you're talking about spending more money to draw more people to the show, that eventually is going to drive prices up. because it has to, if we factor in our grooming prices by what we put into it and what we spend in supplies and time. And if our supplies go up and gas goes up, we need to raise our prices. Vendors do too. And a lot of them try very hard not to do that because they know how it's like, what it's like.
Because I can remember, and I know it is simply not feasible anymore, but I can remember going to a show, they were out of what I needed and I got free shipping.
Yeah.
But let's talk 15, 20 years ago. All right, let's take
Shipping
another-
wasn't the same as it is now.
No, it's not. So let's take another break.
Okie dokie, we will.
I know when I'm on the road grooming, I want to keep things rolling along. With a 9-foot clearance, Handview mobile grooming vans actually fit through most drive-throughs to make lunch and banking on the go a breeze. With their clean running diesel engine getting up to 5 hours runtime per gallon, you're spending less time and money at the pump. Visit Handview.com today to configure the mobile grooming van of your dreams.
Can you tell Mary that one of the very few fucks I have left in my bucket is the grooming industry and shows, and I get very opinionated and passionate about this.
Yeah, I can't imagine not going to a show. Okay. When I was grooming, I want to feel the tools in my hand. I want to see how the scissors work. I want to feel, I have bought clippers, a different clip. This is from, I have bought different clippers. Nope, that's not going to work. Oh, look at this. This is awesome.
Now you have a halo. There you go.
Hold on a second. It's that door back there. That's
Uh-huh.
the light as it's setting. Okay. So we're going to be doing this. Okay. So I can't imagine like not, I mean, I've gone to trade shows looking to buy one clipper. As soon as I held it in my hand, I knew it was not the right clipper for me.
Exactly.
Okay.
And clippers. Let me tell you, the last clipper I bought, it was the Andis Pulse, the cordless clipper, and I don't regret it at all. It is now my favorite clipper. I love it to absolute bits. However, I cried a little when I bought it because it was like they're not cheap. My first clipper was one of the old Andis, the square black ones.
Yeah. Can we remember the old Oster ones with the
Oh.
screw one?
First of all, I was a bather and all of the groomers in my salon had those and they were so awful and they bitched about them so much. I never bought one. The
Yeah,
old
the
A5s or the
whole
gold ones.
3rd-degree burns.
Yes.
On the side of our hands from that clipper.
Yes. Where it blew the dirty hair, hot, dirty hair in your face. Yeah. No, thank you.
So the point is, I could not imagine, even at Pasadena, and I'm retired, I am retired, okay? I still bought grooming products because I have my own dogs on
Mhm.
things that I didn't go there to buy, okay? But you know what? I wanted
And-
to try them.
And look, I completely get that you may not have a show you can drive to and that it's a big expense and life gets busy and you may miss a year, even if you do. That's okay. I'm not talking about that and that's also why I'm so passionate about the small shows and some of these new shows that are coming up, because I'm going to be at the brand new, not just the Teton show. We're going to talk a lot more about that, or we will have spoken about that because the episode didn't get recorded yet, but will air first. I feel like I'm in a bad sci-fi movie. This will have happened. But the Colorado Springs show I'm speaking at, because that part of our country is way bigger than this East Coaster realized. I'm sorry. You can shame me when you see me, and I will hang my head and go, that was fair. But I get if you can't get to one easily, and if it's an every other year kind of thing. But that's also part of the reason vendors put on show specials for everyone, because the percentage of groomers who actually go to shows is a fairly small percentage of groomers as a whole. So yes, you may not feel you get as much benefit, but at the same time, if you fly to a show and you know they're doing that, and you know they're going to offer that, and you can not lug it back home, or go home, work, get one paycheck, and then call them up and place your big order because there's going to be free shipping, that still benefits you. I don't know. That sounded rambly. Did that half-ass answer that, Mary?
Yes and no.
Okay.
But I think that's as best as you're gonna get.
Well, also because to be fair, I don't work for a general distributor. I work with Evolution Shears, and we are a very, very specific, you have to get your hands on it to get fit, to feel it right, to try it kind of product. It's more difficult to just order us from a catalog unless you have one or two pair and know exactly what you want and what you need. If you've never used them before, it's important you get your hands on them at a show. And that's why they do so many shows. And that's why they offer the show specials after, because we do get that a lot. We get a lot that people are like, oh my God, I fell in love with these and I didn't know I needed them, but I can't right now. I just can't. And we're like, here's your fitting. Here's how you were fit. You've got birthdays coming up. You've got holidays and you've got loved ones, or, if you can in a couple weeks, here you go. I know my first year grooming, I got a gift certificate to Pet Edge from my mom for my birthday. That was how I got my grooming kit.
All right, should we
Anyway.
take that last commercial?
Yeah, we will. Which one is it? This one. So by now, you know how much I love my Evolution shears. They're the only shears I use. Check out all the options, including customizable non-swivels, at evolutionshears.com, and give Abby a shout with any questions you might have. Traveling Groomers listeners get $10 off and free shipping with the code ON THE ROAD, all one word. So check them out today. Your hands will thank you. Oh, and by the way, because that was perfect timing, to our listeners, guys, thank you. Thank you so much, because you've been doing a wonderful job of stopping by the Evolution booth and mentioning the Traveling Groomers, because Abby hears that and goes, oh, I should still sponsor you guys, because I'm hearing that at every show. We get at least a couple people. So keep up the good work. Excellent. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Just to be kind of clear, our sponsors basically pay for putting the show on
Mhm.
and maybe going out to dinner, Chris and I, at a trade show.
Yeah. Like once a year, because we see each other maybe twice a year at a show. Although this year I couldn't get you away from you.
Yeah, Pasadena, Atlanta, and Tacoma. I gave you a break for Intergroom.
Gave me, yeah, I was like, what the hell, Mary?
I'll see you at Teton.
You'll see me at Teton,
All right.
and then I will see you at Vegas
Yep.
at Super Zoo.
Yep.
And you're coming to Hershey this year.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
I gotta get a move on getting that set up.
Yeah, because, well, two things. One, you need more wallpaper for
Yeah.
the Barclay Honors Award. I have 1 to 2 I haven't even put up yet, because I'm like, I'm moving my office so soon anyway. And has anyone ever told you that they're crooked?
They're supposed to be. That's how I set them up.
You set them up crooked on purpose.
Yes. They're
Okay.
alternating. So they're not a straight line all across. They're up and down, up and down, up and down.
Okay. Because the difference is like this much, it doesn't look like it's on purpose.
It's on purpose.
Okay, okay, good. Okay.
If the light wasn't streaming in from the door back there.
I'm sure if you look at it head on, you
Yeah,
can
you look
tell it's on purpose. Okay.
So. And they're staying that way. Again, Angie has issue with it. She's not, I'm not,
Positive, 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 positive. So I am very, very glad that summer is here. And I just wanted to say something completely unrelated to trade shows.
okay.
That my neighborhood children have now guilted me into being a better dog mom. Because I took Alric to the park yesterday. And the weather, I mean, I got him in September. The weather wasn't great when I got him. So we didn't do a whole lot of walking around the big soccer field playground area of our park. But I went the other day around lunch. And apparently he loves children. He loves them and they love him. And are you coming back tomorrow? I can't, I gotta work. Well, what about in the evening? Okay, I'll come in the evening.
So now you're letting kids walk all over you.
Mostly my dog. He was so happy.
Okay.
Did I show you pictures?
Yes, I saw the pictures. They were pretty cute.
There was one, guys, there was this one like toddler, 3-year-old maybe, with oranges in it, with like an orange in his hand. He desperately wanted Alric to eat the orange. He kept feeding him slices, not the whole thing. Let's be mannerly. Keep trying to give him slices. It was pretty cute.
Okay.
It's pretty cute.
All right.
So today we learned he loves soccer balls.
Okay.
So now I'm letting the local children walk all over me because why not?
Okay. All right. So then on that note,
guys, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for putting up with me ranting about how much I love trade shows. And feel free to comment on this episode when it is posted. Let's get some of these questions answered. And hopefully we'll keep this conversation going a little bit more. We'll try to get a different vendor on. Maybe.
okay.
All right. Safe travels, guys.
Safe travels.
Well, that was fun, but now it's time to head home. We hope you enjoyed listening as much as we enjoyed chatting with you. If there are any topics you'd like us to discuss or guests you want to see join us on this crazy road trip of ours, let us know in the Traveling Groomers Facebook page. Don't forget to thank our sponsors and see you next week, guys. Safe travels.